It's interesting you mentioned replanting there because a question that I've always had, and I've never had the opportunity to ask it properly. When it comes to these ancient vine vineyards, when does it
Mhm.
become less viable to harvest from them? Because it must get to a certain point where it's like, crap, I'm getting two grapes per vine, or maybe that's an exaggeration, but it must get to a certain point where it doesn't make sense to harvest from that vineyard anymore.
Yeah,
Uh,
the yields are definitely low, Tom. Yeah.
yeah, but it's more. I mean, these vineyards, the oldest vineyard we've got still planted was planted in 1890,
Well,
and the oldest vines are 130 years old. But you think about your vine death rates and all the rest of it. Slowly, you've got replanting over the years, and
right,
so
right.
your average vine age is still really, really, really old. But if you've looked after it, you don't really need to ever pull it out. You just kind of keep on nursing it along. You're kind of looking at 2 to 3 tons an acre is pretty good yield for those guys. And they've got great sources. They're down near the water table. So that's how they manage to be dry farmed, and they just keep on keeping on. It's pretty crazy and pretty amazing. And they're pretty consistent. They always produce great wine of super fantastic concentration. And it's just more about doing the little things right, going through, and any time a vine dies, replanting it straight away, so that you don't ever get to that stage where your whole vineyard's at that stage where you need to replant it all. You just kind of keep on looking after it. So it's more kind of just doing all the little things right that'll get you to those vines, to those beautiful old maturity. So yeah, that's like, I mean, in other places where they're farming hard, you do have vine collapse after 20 to 30 years and things like that. But
Yes. Yeah.
and that's pretty standard. Like the finance guys will tell you that, if you're producing to produce, a large crop and to make money and stuff, 20 years is your return on investment. If you get to 30, your crops will get a little bit lower, and it really depends on what you're trying to do. We have an amazing resource out there in Contra Costa with these ancient vines. So, losing that ancientness of the vines would just be heartbreaking, to be honest with you. So that's kind of why we'll keep on looking after those vines for as long as we can. Contra Costa is also turning into a suburbia dystopia, I suppose.
Oh,
It's
really? Really?
yeah, you can probably
Very
explain, Hilary.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, you'll have this like beautiful heritage old vineyard next to like brand new strip mall, and it's just
Oh
new
boy.
development,
Right.
tract homes, and I think it's just the natural sprawl of the Bay Area. But we really want to keep these heritage vineyards kind of intact as long as possible. And my dad is so dedicated to it just because his grandfather he's just so connected to the land out there. And yeah, he's in it for the long haul with these vines, and we don't want to lose this like special sauce we have
Of
going with
course.
these
Yes. Yes.
vines. Yeah.
It's
And
pretty funny. So you get these people, these developers, and they're like, "Oh, we look at this. You've got a brand new house overlooking these vineyards and things like that." And then the house owners complain about the vineyards and the tractors and stuff like that. And so it's kind of, so it's
Constant
pretty
battle.
interesting out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting.
when you
Mhm.
replant, where does the plant material come from? Do you have your own nursery program, or how does that work?
We do a
Both.
mixture of
Yeah.
things. It depends on
Mhm.
what we're trying to do and what we're trying to
Yeah.
achieve. We do some things where we're looking for specific varieties or specific clones of varieties. So we'll
Right.
go and pick out the best vines and stuff like that. Other times we're looking for, a clean replant where we want to introduce a new clone. And so we'll rely on nurseries to provide virus-free cuttings that we can plant.
Mhm.
So it kind of depends on what the project is and what we're trying to achieve. We work with Italian varieties, and so that stuff's pretty specific. There's not a lot of clonal material out there. So we'll actually go to growers and say like, hey, can we take some of your cuttings to establish our own vineyard,
Right.
that sort of a thing.
Mhm.
So there's a few, just once again, it's what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to make. Yeah.
Superb. On a closing note, I'm not going to ask you what your favorite variety is to work with, but what is particularly exciting you right now, whether it's a variety or a method of production or a new label that you're coming out with? Hilary, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's such an easy one for me because we've just introduced a completely new tier into our portfolio. It's called the Sonoma AVA tier. And so we're kind of taking different AVAs within Sonoma County,
Right.
and making the variety that speaks to that AVA, or it's just does the best in that particular AVA. So for example, we introduced a Dry Creek Zinfandel and an Alexander Valley Cab, a Carneros Chardonnay, and a Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir.
Very cool.
And yeah, so I was raised in Sonoma. So how my dad feels about Contra Costa, I feel about Sonoma. Yeah. So I'm so excited about this new project and exploring more of the AVAs within Sonoma, where we've been very focused on Carneros and Sonoma Coast in the past. So I'm very excited to get further out into the county and show those amazing wines that Tom has been able to put together. So,
terrific. And for you, Tom?
I gotta say the same as Hilary. Unfortunately, I can't give you a more interesting answer.
It's a real
it's been really fun, and it's been fun exploring and checking out new vineyards and working with these amazing small boutique growers that have great little plots and pockets and things like that, and making these cool wines. We just did some tastings recently, and they showed really, really well. Everyone's excited. We literally just bottled a couple of them, less than 2 months ago, it feels like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 months ago. So they're only just getting out to market. But like the last couple of years has been a busy couple of years at Cline. Resetting how we kind of structure, like how basically our winery works as far as, like our tier system and things like that, the new labels and things, and just like streamlining a little bit better makes it more fun on the production side and more clear set, and also easier for the consumer to understand. So we got a lot of good projects. The Seven Ranchlands one's really exciting. People seem to be really enjoying that. We launched that last year, which is like a restaurant only specific program. So like you can't buy it on the shop shelves. It's only designed for restaurants, and we've got a giving back part of that as well. So Cline's always donated to worthwhile causes, and the restaurant relief fund is really worthwhile. So we're giving money for every case sold to specific restaurants, to specific restaurant areas from the relief fund to help with the hard times. But I tell you what, it's starting to get busy again around here. It feels like normal times are on their way a little bit, but knock on wood. You got to knock on wood, right?
Yeah.
Because you never know.
A little birdie told me that you're doing some experimentation with amphorae.
Yeah, we got the amphoras in 2015, I think it was, the year before I arrived at Cline, and so we got 15 amphoras from Italy. So, and then we also have 3 Quievri. So Quievris are basically amphoras, but they're buried in the ground, and they've got like a pointed bottom, so you can't sit them on anything. You actually have to bury them in the ground. And we started off making some Syrah and some Viognier in them, which is really, really fun. We experimented with some other varieties that did and didn't go super well, I'll put it that way. And then what we found is we make some Nebbiolo for our Italian brand called Jacuzzi Family Vineyards. So Fred's heritage is from Italy, and he started this brand to honor and to preserve some of the old Italian vineyards that are out there. Yes. And what we found was Nebbiolo worked really well. So Nebbiolo went in for us for, for 6 months to a year, just really softens those tannins. It helps with the aromatics and just makes a much more approachable Nebbiolo pretty quickly. So we're having a lot of fun. Just there's a lot of toys at the winery. We have a lot of fun making wine, and they're pretty fun the Viognier and amphoras is pretty cool. We do 20% on skins. Sorry, I could prattle on forever.
Honestly, though, I do think that it all comes back to being a family-owned winery. We are able to get fun little things like a Viognier, do smaller programs within, and I think that's something we always want to do well into the future. I mean, Tom's doing all sorts of interesting stuff. This year, he made for the tasting room. He made a white wine from Grenache grapes. So we're doing a Grenache Gris, and we're doing all sorts of different stuff, and I think that's one of the greatest things, that not being fully driven by like quarterly profits and all that kind of thing.
I hear you.
Keep the experiments fun.
We get to still have fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I really appreciate you joining me at Good Food Revolution this evening. Really great to see your product in the market once again. And hopefully, once this pandemic is behind us, maybe we'll see you up in Ontario at some point.
I'd
Yeah.
love to come up. I would absolutely love to. It'd be great. I'm sure
Yes.
Hillary will probably be first dibs on going on a trip up there though. So she'll have a good time. And yeah,
Yeah.
Megan went out there a couple of years ago, didn't she?
I think
Yeah.
so.
So
Well,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
if
an
you
important market.
just don't come in kind of January, February. Last week, was it? Well, yeah, just last week, the week before, it was minus 25 centigrade.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
gee.
unheard
Centigrade?
of.
Yes, centigrade.
Yeah, you guys work in the proper system up there, don't you?
I've been here for 26 years now, and I'm just
Oh,
kind of
man.
used to it. It's
Yeah.
but thank you so much.
Hibernate.
Just don't come in the Canadian winter. Well, I mean, it's
Yeah.
Okay.
fine, but you just won't have the clothes. I once had a Californian girlfriend for many a year, and she just every time she would come to visit in the winter, we had to buy her a whole new wardrobe. She just simply did not have the clothes for surviving
Oh.
here. Thank you
Yeah,
very
that-
much. We'll catch up again soon, I hope. And as I said, hopefully it will be in person. We can share a glass of
Yeah.
Viognier then.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah,
Thank you so
we
much
hope
for having
so.
us,
Yeah,
Jeremy.
cheers. Thank you. And thank you to all of our Canadian fans and all the support you've given us over the years. So thank
Excellent.
you.
Stay safe.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thanks.